You open applications. You scroll through profiles. You swipe left. You swipe right. You match with someone. You talk for a week. And then nothing. Modern dating is complicated. Everyone knows that. But here is the question nobody thinks to ask. Before apps, before phones, before cities, before written language even existed, how did ancient humans actually find a partner? No profiles, no photos, no way to meet anyone outside your immediate group. Just you and maybe 30 other people in the middle of nowhere. And yet somehow the human species survived, which means they figured it out. For most of human history, we lived in small bands of around 20 to 50 people. Think about that for a second. Your entire world was 50 people. That was everyone you would ever know. Your family, your friends, and the small number of people who were not related to you and were the right age. Which meant your options were extremely limited. Maybe 2 or 3 people your entire life who were even possible partners. So what did ancient humans actually do? The first thing researchers discovered is that ancient humans did not choose partners the way we think they did. There was no asking someone out. No first date. No getting to know you slowly over coffee. Partner selection happened through something much simpler. Proximity and observation. You watched someone every single day. You saw how they behaved under pressure, how they treated others, how skilled they were at finding food or making tools. There was no hiding who you really were. Your entire group watched you all day every day. Your reputation was everything. And here is something surprising. Ancient human women had enormous power in partner selection. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups, the closest living example to our ancient ancestors, found that women were rarely forced into relationships. Women chose, and what they chose for was very specific. Not height, not looks, not wealth. Ancient humans had no wealth. They chose for 2 things above everything else: generosity and competence. A man who shared his food with the group. A man who was skilled at hunting or gathering. A man the rest of the group trusted and respected. That was attractive, because in a world where survival was not guaranteed, a generous and capable partner meant your children were more likely to survive. But what about meeting people outside your own group? Because 50 people meant very limited options. This is where it gets interesting. Ancient humans had a system for this that researchers call exogamy. The rule was simple. You do not take a partner from inside your own group. You go outside. Different bands of ancient humans would meet regularly at certain times of year. Gatherings, celebrations, seasonal events when food was abundant. These gatherings were essentially the ancient world's version of a social event. Music, dance, storytelling, shared meals, and meeting potential partners from neighboring groups. Researchers have found evidence of these gatherings going back hundreds of thousands of years. Ancient humans understood that meeting new people was essential for survival. Fresh genes, new alliances, reduced conflict between groups. It worked on every level. Now here is the part that will genuinely surprise you. Ancient humans had something that looks very much like courtship, like romantic pursuit. Archaeologists have found evidence of gift giving going back at least 100,000 years. Shell beads, ochre pigment used as body paint, feathers arranged in specific patterns. These were not practical items. They had no survival value. They were purely decorative, given to attract and impress a potential partner. Ancient humans dressed up. They made themselves look appealing. They brought gifts. The impulse that makes you put on your best clothes for a date is the same impulse that made an ancient human paint their face 100,000 years ago. And music. Ancient humans used music as courtship. The oldest musical instruments ever found are flutes made from bird bones and mammoth ivory, around 40,000 years old. Researchers believe music was used at those seasonal gatherings to attract partners. To show creativity, skill, and emotional depth. Playing an instrument to impress someone is not a modern idea. It is 40,000 years old. But what about commitment? Did ancient humans stay together? The evidence suggests yes. And the reason is practical, not romantic. Human babies are the most helpless babies of any species on Earth. A human child needs years of care before it can do anything independently. That means raising children successfully require 2 people working together. A partnership. Not because of love necessarily. Because of survival. But here is what researchers also found. Ancient humans who stayed together longer had higher rates of happiness within their groups. The pair bond to people committed to each other turned out to be good for individuals, not just children. Which suggests that love, or something very close to it, existed long before we had a word for it. So what does all of this actually tell us? Ancient humans found partners through daily observation, not first impressions. They valued character over appearance. They created social events specifically to meet new people. They used creativity and gifts to attract someone they liked. And they committed to each other not just because they had to, but because it made them happier. None of that has changed. The technology changed. The world changed. But the thing that makes you want to find someone who is kind, capable, and makes you feel safe, that is 300,000 years old. Here is my question for you. Which part of ancient human dating do you think was actually better than what we have today? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And subscribe because every week we answer one question about ancient human life that nobody thought to ask. See you next week.